In Full Zoom is presented to you by Calvo Enterprises, Inc.
Half a day, everyone, and welcome to another segment of In Full Zoom. I'm Nestor Licanto, and first of all, let me introduce our guests for this particular show. From GPO, I've got Monte, Mesa, and Suzanne Perez. From American Music, Janiece and Greg Sablan. And from Guam Pak Express, I have Don Paulino. Half a day, guys. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, half a day and good morning.
Thank you.
Okay. Let me just start from, let's say, go right to left on the screen there. Monte and Suzanne, if you could just explain a little bit about your particular business, GPO, and how the COVID virus crisis has affected your operations.
Sure. Welcome, everybody, and thank you again for inviting us to join in this particular show. Obviously, we've all continued to learn from what COVID-19 has presented to us, and we see this as new opportunities that we would ultimately have to adjust as well as adapt to the market conditions. And we certainly have stepped up to the plate, and I think one of the big things that we had planned earlier on before COVID-19 was Suzanne Perez now is our acting shopping center manager, and it's just a good timing that she came on board to be running the daily operations of GPO. Again, promoting within and taking our local talents like Suzanne, putting her in a very good position to lead us through this COVID-19 situation, which she has done a tremendous job so far. And I will let her discuss some of her efforts in putting in a very strategic protocols for social distancing that we will be practicing at GPO, which really is going to be different from what you had experienced in the past. So I'll let Suzanne roll that information out in our social distancing protocols.
All right, Suzanne, go right ahead.
Okay, so the team and I had to sit down and take a step back because this is a situation, of course, that we've never quite been in, and we've learned a lot of terminology from the start, and one of them is social distancing. So given that, and knowing that we are hopefully going to open this weekend on May 9th, we've taken the time to really evaluate the entire shopping center. That's including the food court and the main mall area. And we came up with some protocols that will be in place. So when customers come back to shop at GPO, it's not going to be the same, at least for a little while, until we beat this pandemic and you know, the numbers are flat. So basically, our hours of operation when we reopen are going to be 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. We're going to have two designated entrances, and that's the one beside Ross and the one facing Ruby Tuesday. And basically, we're going to implement a no mask, no entry policy. So customers would have to wear a face shield, a mask, or some type of covering on their face. And we will also be taking their temperature. Anything 100 degrees Fahrenheit and higher, we will ask them to go home, get some rest, and seek medical attention should they need it. And we will also have face masks available for purchase for $1 if they don't have a face mask to enter the facility. So, you know, that in mind, and we will also be asking them to sanitize their hands, which we do have multiple hand sanitizer stations throughout. And we've created basically a certain flow of traffic that we will ask the customers to follow. So we have arrows on the floor, social distancing for lines. We created lines outside of each store space where they could stand 6 feet apart. And then the food court is totally, we totally revised the food court. So
Okay.
yeah, it's
Thank
exciting.
you very much. Yeah, it's going to be a whole new world. And I got to say, it took a pandemic to shorten the lines at Ross. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay, let me move on to Janiece and Greg. Can you tell us a little bit about American Music and the impact the virus crisis has had on your business?
Yeah.
Well, good morning and thank you for having us. You know, like any other retail business, you know, there are certain times throughout the month where you're generating revenue, how it's applied, and to keep operations going, to get your staff paid, to pay your bills and your vendors. Well, March 20th is right in that sweet spot. GRT was due, everything was happening. So it was kind of it was real. First of all, this whole thing is a real shocker, right? Like Suzanne said, we haven't experienced anything like this before. So in terms of preparedness, who was, right? But we've learned a lot. We've been observing, we've been reading all the news casts, the headlines, and this whole time, we use it as a learning experience. So from that, what we did was we secured our store, we sanitized everything. We've been prepping with our same protocol measures. We have the facilities with screens. We're going to have our employees have masks. We're going to have hand sanitizers, washing hand frequently. Requirements. We've taped out everything. We're also going to have the requirements for our customers as well. We're actually limiting our entry into our store to no more than 8 people at a time in the store, and no groups larger than 2. It's almost like we learned a lot from, I want to say shout out to Payless. We learned a lot from them about having a designated shopper, because usually in our business, we can't have mom, dad, the 3 kids, and grandpa come in. That might have been the norm before, but now things have changed. So we're going to have, someone's going to have to wait in the car. No groups larger than 2, no more than 8 in the store at a time. Because yes, we want to protect the general public, but we really, really looking out to protect our employees. We don't want anyone to get sick. They have to be there every day. So it has impacted us in terms of the revenue and the cash flow, but we took advantage of all the programs and try to mitigate any of those losses.
Can I say at the
Sure.
same time, what's really important to us too is we understand, we're part of the community too. We've been around the store's been around for 25 years, but we understand everybody's concern. I know some people feel like, businesses are trying to open, are they crazy trying to open?
Mm-hmm.
We get that. We're doing everything we possibly can to make sure everybody is safe, ourselves and customers. And again, if you don't feel safe, don't shop. We've done online shopping. We've really implemented that over the closure time. And we will do curbside shopping. So if you want to buy online or you want to call us, we'll be happy to take it out to your car. So we understand everybody's concern, and we don't want anybody to feel uncomfortable that we're open. We want to take everybody's concern into consideration.
Yeah, Janiece's been going crazy, posting everything up online.
Yeah.
I know it's a little.
Yeah, we got a lot of SKUs, I'll tell you that.
I was going to say, it's for you retailers, it's a little counterintuitive, because you're always, come on in, customers, come on in. Now you're kind of like, okay, we want you to come in, but under these different scenario.
Correct.
Full Zoom is presented to you by Calvo Enterprises, Inc. GU Self-Storage, conveniently located near the Harmon McDonald's. We offer affordable rates, online payments, and auto bill pay for your convenience. Plus gate access daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Call us today at 648-7867 for more information. In Full Zoom is presented to you by Calvo Enterprises, Inc.
We move to Don. Don, tell us a little bit about Guam Pak Express and how your company was impacted. You're a little bit different from the retailers.
When he needs to access his mic.
Okay.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can. Did you need me to ask the question again?
Sorry about that. Okay, Wambach Express, we're a moving storage, logistics, and transportation company. So we've been open throughout the coronavirus pandemic that's been going on. And back to Greg and Janiece and Monte and Suzanne, those are, they both run establishments that we all frequent. And so it's kind of a unprecedented challenge that we're all dealing with. One of the positives that we're looking at is, we get to kind of see what different businesses are doing to protect themselves and kind of take away some of the good things that we want to bring back to our business. So, Suzanne mentioned the face mask, the hand sanitizer. We're taking all those precautions with our employees. Initially, they were afraid to go to work, which was a challenge for us because we were an essential business and we still had to continue to operate, but our employees were worried about getting their families sick. So we had a big challenge initially, just getting our employees to come in and comfortable with the idea of working again. So, really it's about keeping the employees safe, but also the community at large. We want to take that into consideration when we're out there interacting with customers. How do we prevent the spread of this pandemic? How do we be responsible business people? And I think the challenge in the future is preparing our businesses to do more with less. I think most industries right now are preparing for less business, less customers. In the short term, we got to kind of prepare our businesses for that and hopefully return to some sense of normalcy in the mid to long term. But it is going to take a while for consumer behavior to adjust and for everyone to get back comfortable and normal again.
Yeah, Don touched on one of my next questions, which is, what are your expectations in terms of customer turnout? And we talked a little bit about, people will have less money in their pocket for now. And how will you adjust to that? Or what are your expectations? I'll start with you, Monte. Go ahead.
Get it off the. Yes, that's a very good question because I'm involved with another business group, of course, that really focus on our visitor markets and how we're going to relaunch our recovery, opening up, Korea as well as Japan. But I think the time that we are allowed to reopen at this time, while our visitor market is off, it gives our local businesses, everybody, to include, Greg and Janiece, as well as Don, because we do business with all of them in some form of fashion. And we want our local businesses to really prepare and set up what Greg and Janiece is talking about, what Don is talking about, and what Suzanne is talking about in, adjusting our way of operations to continue to enhance the safety aspect of containing this COVID virus from infecting anybody else. And I think it's important that we do this in a way that all our businesses in Guam would definitely step up to the plate and make it happen. And as we develop this before we open the gates for Japan and Korea to come back, it'll give us a sense of social media exposure of all the businesses that are doing their social distancing and make it safe and inviting for our visitors to come back. And I think this is a good time for all of us, our local businesses, to really look deep into how we would readjust, adapt to this new way of opportunities that is now unfolding and continuing to unfold. So I believe this gives us some time, and I hope the governor really helps us to start this initiation of slowly opening us up as we gradually continue to contain the COVID virus positive cases that are being done by the mass testing that is now being implemented.
In Full Zoom is presented to you by Calvo Enterprises, Inc. GU Self-Storage, conveniently located near the Harmon McDonald's. We offer affordable rates, online payments, and auto bill pay for your convenience. Plus gate access daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Call us today at 648-7867 for more information. In Full Zoom is presented to you by Calvo Enterprises, Inc.
Janiece and Greg, you have more of a kind of a focused retail business on musicians in particular. Your niche, what are your expectations for your niche? Is there a pent-up demand for musicians to start buying stuff from you guys?
Well, it was a fine line between essential and non-essential, because everybody that has approached us says that mental health, their need for art and things like that, especially music. You can get a pencil and draw, but can you go out and buy a guitar somewhere? It's totally different. And so we were really torn by that very general classification. especially also because we're a boutique type of place. We're a destination. We're not in a mall location, or you know, we're not like a Home Depot or a Kmart. If you need have a specific need, you would go there. And you know, we average between 5 and 10 people in the store at some time. Sometimes, yeah, at any given time. So we never really had large crowds. So you know, it was very tough for us. You know, I was gonna write a letter to the governor and say, hey, you know, what is your definitive
We've had some moments with this
and people and customers were really not irate at us, but pretty upset that, you know, they thought that their music, their mental health and status to write music or to sing with family, you know, with family in the house, you know, the guitar string broke, they can't play the guitar anymore. You know, but just that communal, that quality time spending instead of watching Netflix or something, you know, it really, they said, I'm going to write a letter to the governor. I said, well, let's just hang on, you know, maybe this thing will live.
But in terms of the, you know, like the pent up demand, we understand that. I mean, we really understand that people are having a hard time. And I mean, you know, the first thing on their mind might not be, I'm going to go spend $300 on a guitar or whatever, right? Or a drum set or whatever. But really there are, I mean, we've seen so many of our friends, local musicians out there playing their heart out during this pandemic, doing concerts online. I mean, just really lifting the spirits of people. And so, you know, we know there is a demand, but we know that people won't have, you know, a whole lot of money to spend. So of course we're taking that into consideration when we reopen, what our pricing structure will look like, what our purchasing will look like, things like that, you know, in the very near future. Lots to consider in that area.
Yeah, I mean, this has caused a little niche in terms of like live streaming and broadcasting. We've got lots of requests. We're selling online, and actually our sales have actually been better than it has when we were having the brick and mortar store.
As far online goes, like churches needing things to, you know, microphones, USB microphones.
Stream their masses.
Yeah.
Like
well, we at KUAM have understood the value of you know, of music, and we've got, you know, our live local Fridays, and we've got musicians sending us streaming stuff, and it's you know, the response has been tremendous. People just
I just think that it's going to be a slow climb uphill. I think people are going to come back. We have our regulars, so every business has their regulars, but I think we're going to see a slow ramp up. Just we're hoping and praying that we're not going to get a second wave that will possibly shut us down again, because I think that might be the tipping point. But I see a gradual growth, and as soon as people feel secure and comfortable about shopping in public, I think things will be better.
Yeah. And Don, how about you and your business? What have you been seeing out there in terms of customer demand?
Well, it definitely is down. We're one of the fortunate businesses that is down but not out. I mean, we're still working. Our customer demand is down, but it's not a business closing down. To Greg and Janiece, music is essential, guys. It's something that
Thank you.
My wife and I were talking the other night, and we're like, man, we're staying home on the weekends now. Let's go back to the Friday night jam sessions, you know? And so we're in the market now, just so you guys know. I'll check out your webpage, but we're in the market for a PA system and different equipment to just kind of help ourselves stay sane at home. We want to be able to, you know. But back to the question, Nestor, you know, like I said, we are one of the fortunate businesses that were allowed to continue to operate. And so we take that with great, you know, weight. You know, we're grateful for that opportunity. But I think the more important thing is what we've learned along the way was, you know, how to protect ourselves, how to protect our employees and our customers. These were lessons that were invaluable. And I think in the retail space, we do have to prepare ourselves for whatever is to come, guys. It's something that it's unprecedented. It's nothing to compare it to at this point. But you know, we want to see our local businesses open up again stronger than ever. And I think it goes to Greg's point, is that we got to do what we can to avoid a second wave of this and try to kill it in its tracks now. So it is a fine line between getting the economy rolling again and keeping our manumku and our those who are most likely to get sick, keeping them safe, you know. So that is the challenge. Our business stayed open throughout, and we continue to operate at full capacity today. And so we're lucky to be in that, you know, at least have our jobs and have somewhere to come into work. We are feeling for other businesses, such as you guys as businesses, on how do we support that? How do we ensure that GPO and American music are around when the economy rolls around again? How do we support these guys? And that's the big thing, is that Guam is such a tight-knit community, and we kind of all look out for each other. And I think that's what's important in getting through this is wherever we can help each other, let's do that.
In Full Zoom is presented to you by Calvo Enterprises, Inc. GU Self-Storage, conveniently located near the Harmon McDonald's. We offer affordable rates, online payments, and auto bill pay for your convenience. Plus gate access daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Call us today at 648-7867 for more information. In Full Zoom is presented to you by Calvo Enterprises, Inc.
Yeah. And Suzanne, as a mall operator, you have a lot of small businesses within your business. What have you heard from them in terms of the reopening of the economy and their expectations?
Well, obviously, when we reopen, it's not going to be quite the same. But we are and we have always been a locally based mall, meaning we've always had a greater percentage of local customers versus tourists. So they're hopeful that it'll pick up again. They understand it's going to be a little slow in the beginning. But at the same time, we've gone in and we've revamped our marketing plans to, to also not just cater to the local community, but to, make sure that they come back to us. And understanding all of that, their expectations are, how do I say, they don't expect much in the beginning, but they are hopeful that once the tourists start coming back, that their businesses will also pick up and flourish. Understanding again that it's not going to be the same for a few months from now.
Yeah, Monte, let me ask you, since I know you've been very heavily involved in the tourism industry. What are your thoughts on the return of tourism? Because it's such a vital part of our economy. It accounts for, that second leg of our two-legged economy between federal spending and tourism. That pretty much is what drives the economy. What have you been hearing? I know that Study Ada, the chairman, has said that it's going to be a long uphill climb. Are we going to be able to sustain a lot of the businesses between now and that time when we finally do get back to the levels, which were record levels? When tourism went down, we were at record levels. So I guess the question is, how long do you think it's going to take, and are there going to be businesses that are going to be gone along the way?
Well, that's a very good question, and we've been discussing that, of course, among our sales with the different business groups, to include the chamber, to include GVB members, to include GHRA members. I think what we need to look at is also, we know that there's federal funds that have been issued and have been offered, from Small Business Administration, as well as some PPPs. And of course, I'm glad that Janiece and Greg, as well as maybe Don, have already availed themselves to some of those things. And I think this is somewhere that, again, if the governor is listening to this broadcast, I would hope that her financial advisors, economic financial advisors, really look at the situation where, we've now been closed for 45 days. And that is tremendously hard on a lot of businesses, especially at GPO. And to include, we also run 2 Month Sands Plaza, which is a different scenario. However, we see this as an opportunity for our government to consider. I know that, the governor is not for adjusting the GRT or considering also options in helping small businesses. I would hope that part of the new opportunities coming out of this COVID-19, that she really looks at that and help our local businesses, especially those that have not had a lot of, clean financial support. And I think it would behoove our government to look at these businesses to keep them going and hopefully, allow some of these federal funds to really focus on the small businesses, like for Janiece and Greg, and like for Don, because we need those businesses to continue to flourish, because it complements our total economy of Guam. And if the governor's economic advisors are listening as well, I would encourage them to really look at this, true economic picture of Guam, and seeing all the new businesses that we've developed, even the small businesses, the food trucks, that are affected as well. That to see, hey, these are the businesses that really need the extra income, but not those extra financial support that's either coming from the federal government, and the governor said she has the money. So I think she really needs to focus on that. And I think that would help her amongst all these disruptions that's happening in her administration today, that she really needs to look at now. She's done a great job with our medical group advisors that kept this COVID-19 virus, suppressed and controlled. I think they've done a great job with that. I think now her next phase is to really look at the economy and really look at these small businesses, and they're all registered at the revenue tax. And I think the revenue tax director would have to look at this and see that, all right, 40% of our small businesses need help, and that's something that I would encourage the administration, especially the economic advisors. I know all of them, and I would encourage them to really look at supporting our small businesses and help them through this next, 3 to 4 months, until things really get back to getting our visitors rolling back. I agree with Sunny, it's going to take a little time to ramp up, to get the numbers pre-COVID. I hope we can attain that. We've always bounced back through all the different disasters that we faced. And as Don said, this is really unprecedented, continuing to be unpredictable at this moment. But I think that if we all work together, and I think the government plays a big part of this, is to really look at our small businesses and to help them continue to move forward. And we definitely at GPO, we have, at least 40% of our businesses are local and are small businesses, and we want to advocate that.
Okay, we got about 30 seconds left. I'm going to give the last word to Janiece and Greg. Tell us why we need to support local businesses, guys.
Well, really, the heart of the economy. Small businesses are the makeup of the economy, providing employment, providing goods and services, maybe above and beyond what big boxers can provide. Just to reach out to Monty's point, we did avail ourselves to the SBA programs, the EIDL. I recommend all small businesses apply for that,
and the PPP.
And the PPP. Because we're a small business and it's tax time, our records were up to date, so we were very quick to be able to apply. But take advantage of that. The second round of funding is coming out. But we hope that the governor will try to instill some programs to promote and help support the local businesses. And we
so many businesses have fallen through cracks and don't qualify. We understand that. We were fortunate enough to qualify, but I mean, we feel for everybody who didn't qualify or who didn't get in time. Maybe they didn't have their documents ready and weren't ready to go. And so we just don't want to see, like a barren landscape after this all happens. We already know so many people who've shuttered up and closed their doors, and it's really heartbreaking to see that. We just don't want to see more of it.
The main disaster loan, the EIDL, just to let you know, this morning I got an email from them saying that, we're still in the queue. So there's two segments of it. There's the advance, and then there's the financing part. So we're actually in the waiting queue for the second part. So all businesses out there, I highly recommend that you guys go for that. It's all on.
All right, great. All right, great. Good for you guys. All right, thank you. Janiece and Greg Sablan, Don Paulino, Suzanne Perez, Monte Mesa. Appreciate you being with us and joining us here today.
Thanks, Nestor.
You're welcome. That's In Full Zoom. I'm Nestor Licanto, KUAM. Thanks, everyone.
In Full Zoom is presented to you by Calvo Enterprises, Inc.